So there are a lot more CSS files in chat static. They seem to correspond to divs or other elements with a capitalized class name, suggesting that maybe those things should be separate components. So it seems like a pretty cool thing for you to try to do would be to make those extra components and style them. It's fine if they just contain hard-coded stuff for now. Like, it looks like metadata here has the username. So, if possible, you should put the username there. But it also wants the time of the message. And although we are kind of storing that on the ID, that's not a long-term solution for that, I don't think. So just hard-code that for now. And looks like there's one for room list. Call them rooms instead of channels, so that maybe they won't catch on to the fact that this is a blatant copy. So that's this list here. You can hard code it for now. Don't worry about getting that out of state. Just hard code it, and let's just see if we can get our app looking as much like that static thing as possible. Fair warning, there are a few things you're not going to be able to do. Things like before, anything with a colon in it, a hover, or a before, or something like that, is not going to work the way we're doing these styles. We'll learn a new way to do those tomorrow, but for right now, just don't worry about them. And get it as close as you can. Now, that does require that you understand what these selectors mean. We've been using selectors a bit. We've talked about them. We know that a space in between elements means that it's a descendant, right? So like this selector here. What does that mean? That means an A element that is inside an LI element that is inside a room list. So this rule is going to need to be applied to all of those A elements inside room list. I don't think there are any really tricky selectors. I think it's pretty much all descendant selectors and child selectors, plus those things that we know we can't do. So yeah, see if you can get it looking as much like static chat or chat static as possible. Questions about that? Let's see here. The README for chattering right now is just the user guide for Create React App. So I'm going to write my own README. You don't have to do this necessarily if you think it's convenient to have the user guide right there, but whatever. So I'll put hash chattering. Have we talked about Markdown at all? So this is readme.md. MD stands for Markdown. Markdown is a plain text document that translates very easily into HTML, but it remains nice and readable. You can do things like bulleted lists that are just prefixed by a star, which is probably how you would write that in a plain text document anyway. So I'll put an H2 in here. Day 6 homework. Create and style more components based on the chat static content. There should be one CSS file per component. Approximately. You may find that you want to make some more components than that. That's fine. And there is like static.css, which is the stuff that we put in body. That's why I say approximately. Cool. Bonus credit. This should probably be some sort of super mega thing. Bonus credit. Make a sign-in component with a form that takes a username. Don't worry about password for now. Just make it take a username. Good enough. When the form is submitted, save that user in the state of the app component. When apps let's say when state.user is not set, show the sign-in component. When state.user is set, show the main component. So you'll want the user initialized to something empty, or at least have the user name empty. And when it's empty, show the sign-in component. And when it's not, show the main component. So to do that, you're going to have to figure out how to do conditional rendering. By that, I mean how to show one component sometimes and another component based on some other condition. So, hint, you need to figure out how to do conditional rendering. So inside your render function, you're going to have something if-like, but not quite that. Lots of ways to do it. See if you can find one that works. And frankly, this is pretty ambitious already, so that's enough bonus credit. It is kind of hard, isn't it? So super make you feel better about not getting it. Is that super mega bonus credit hyper fighting? That's legit. It is hard. All right, cool. That's your homework. Let me commit this. Go in peace.